Have you ever been scared of a video game? Well, I have, especially by the ones known as horror games. You see, I am a baby, and I don't typically play horror games that often, but I did play the most haunted game of all time. That's right, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, one of the greatest Grand Theft Auto games to come out of the 3D era. Traveling across its massive map, you can find yourself getting shot at in the streets of Los Santos, and getting lost in the woods of Baco Beyond and Shady Creek. Driving up and down the hills of San Fierro. Get abducted in the deserts of Bone County, and roleplay as Michael Jordan in the casinos of Las Venturas. But in between all that, there was a lot of nothing, and when I say nothing, I mean a lot of empty space. And the state of San Andreas was an unnatural color to me. What was hiding out there, in between the towns and streets? Beasts? Ghosts? Killers from another movie property? Who knows? Here in the US, San Andreas was released in 2004, and a year later, the video sharing site YouTube would come along and change the internet forever. See, San Andreas was more than just a game for some people. It was an investigation, a mystery. More than just goofy characters, a great map, and sick gameplay. Like I said, San Andreas was the most haunted game in the world. Bigfoot, ghost cars, Planet X, a technological singularity? There is an entire website dedicated to the rumors, supposedly encountered by many players. So when YouTube came around, it was fuel to the flame, and hundreds, if not thousands of videos were being made, documenting the strange encounters players found across the game. They referred to themselves as myth hunters, a community grown out of curiosity, and as a kid, this only extended my playtime with the game. I remember me and my sister driving around in a news van and how scared she was at the idea that Leatherface might pop up, and how much she hated the chainsaw. For a while, it was a feeling that disappeared from video games. For me, at least. I didn't play the Grand Theft Auto story games, and Grand Theft Auto 4 had remnants, people who still believed that Rockstar was putting strange things in the games, but I didn't need those rumors since Grand Theft Auto 4 was already so interesting. But then came a different game. Red Dead Redemption, an open world game by Rockstar. Who could have guessed? It wasn't concrete and steel, but rather grit and leather, a whole new place to explore. The deserts and the forests, it felt like San Andreas again, a huge world to get sucked into. But it wasn't really that mysterious. The main things to make note of was Tumbleweed and the mansion on the hill. Players reported hearing screams and footsteps. Personally, I've heard these voices, and I've also heard the voices in the game. These are typically hostile NPCs that seem to spawn in a room that you can't open. You need to leave the area and come back, and they should be able to open the door. Number 2, the strange man with the top hat, who seems to know the protagonist John Marston very well, but refuses to tell John who he is. This frustrates John, and when he loses his patience, he tries to shoot the man, but his bullets seemingly pass through him. And to my memory, those are the only real spooky things to make note in Red Dead Redemption. Then, something rose from the depths. Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare, a cowboys versus zombie tale. And now, the map had a lot of things going on. Things we used to think were in San Andreas. Zombies, chupacabras, jackalopes, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, unicorns, and Bigfoot. There was no technological singularity though. But yes, Bigfoot. It was in the game, and Rockstar was well aware of what it meant for the community, since they even added an achievement called 6 years in the making, a reference to the release date of San Andreas. Everyone was happy, but looking back, something was kind of off. Sure, it had the zombies, cryptids, and unicorns, all that good stuff, but was it really that strange when really everything, the cryptids, the monsters, the big feats, they were all home here? Since the world had changed and it was meant to be horror themed, it's kind of expected in a way. Of course there's gonna be spooky stuff in a game called Undead Nightmare. But what about GTA? Well, interestingly enough, Rockstar's Grand Theft Auto 5 is a nice little game that embraced the rumors, almost like its forefather San Andreas, mind you, after all the updates. It really feels like somebody at Rockstar remembered all the old rumors back in San Andreas. Traveling around the map of Grand Theft Auto 5, its massive map, you'll find things don't really fit in the world. Really, it's the same stuff we've been talking about, but in Grand Theft Auto 5. Wait till night falls on Mount Gordo, and you'll find the ghost of a woman who's been pushed off the cliff. Explore the ocean, and you'll find the handiwork of a serial killer. Explore the sky, and you'll find that you're being watched. After 100%ing the game, you can do a side mission where you hunt down Bigfoot. It's all in the game in its own special way. It's come full circle. It's what you least expect to be thinking about in this world of crooks and cutthroats. But how can I talk about these mysteries without bringing up Red Dead Redemption 2? If you haven't tried Red Dead 2, you really should. Not so much for the story, even though that's fun too, but because in Rockstar's lineup of games, it's the ultimate game to get lost in. Some might say that the world feels alive because of the NPCs, but really, I hardly see them because most of the time, I'm just alone in the woods, or I'm breaking into a house, only to realize this isn't a normal house with normal people. Or worse, I'm entering a shack that has had an unfortunate accident involving a meteorite crashing into the home. Or worse than even that, I walk into a shack and find a bunch of skeletons and realize that when I'm walking around in the woods, I may not actually be alone. This is a game about cowboys and the law, and the growing, encroaching society as capitalism ravages the land. See, what I'm trying to say is that in a game about cowboys and lawmen, the thing is, it's just different. In Undead Nightmare, it was expected, but in Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead 2, it's meant to be a realistic world. But suddenly, you find UFOs, giants, and creepy statues, and the list goes on. The biggest thing at the moment isn't even UFOs. Now it's this guy, Francis Sinclair, a man you encounter in Red Dead 2 near Strawberry. At first, he seems like a normal dude for about 2 seconds, and then he just goes off the deep end. And even Arthur thinks he's crazy.
Sorry, I'll dry up. What? See, Hey, can I ask you a strange question? I mean, it sounds...
He asks you to find these rock carvings, and after you do and come back to him, well, this happens.
Hello? Hello? Mr. Sinclair? Huh?
Oh, hello? Can I help you?
Oh, I'm sorry for intruding. Mrs. Sinclair?
Yes? How did you know?
I'm looking for your husband.
My husband?
Yeah.
He's dead. He's been dead since just before Francis was born 1 year ago.
Your husband, Francis, is dead?
No, this is Francis. My husband, Tom, is dead.
I'm a little confused.
Yes, I think you are. What was your name?
That's not important. Excuse me.
According to a lot of the community, he's a reference to the Epsilon program in the Grand Theft Auto series, since the birthmark on his face resembles that of Kraft. Look, Rockstar really knows how to jam-pack those details in when it comes to making a living world. No, scratch that. A lived-in world. A world that feels like it's had a long history. One you didn't even get to see, but rather you find and uncover. Honestly, with all the bad things I've been hearing about Rockstar, it really hurts to hear those talented folks, those rock stars, might just be washed up. Thanks for watching.